afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda Hero Psych Defender of the Fatherland, your Lord and Master of your riveting, amazing, exciting 1v1 right here on Faymonville Approach. Just briefly forgot, but I remembered because I am the Imperial Dane, the best. Except when I forget it. In the east, we got here Whorunsbartertown fighting for the Soviet Union, socialism. Comrade Stalin striking down the fascists with the mighty hammer and sickle of Stalin. Rolling out here with the 3rd Guards Mechanized Corps. Versus in the west, we got Fireandterror fighting for the Wehrmacht, Germany, Deutschland. Rolling out here with the 3rd Panzerdivision here. With our assault support storm doctrine, Jaeger infantry, the Panzergrenadier infantry machine gun versus shock rifle, Lend-Lease, shocking. And advanced warfare tactics, doubly shocking. With tripling from this, well, we got a double conscripts out here as Whorunsbartertown moves out there, sending his men out on not frightfully advanced maneuvers to move ahead here as the 3rd Guards Mechanized Corps approach the position of the 3rd Panzerdivision. Fireandterror there setting out his men stalwartly towards the south, secure territory there. Machine gun being set up in an advanced position to that way cover up any Bolshevik approaches and fill them with lead if they try to peek their head around the corner. Grenadier the advancing, going to move straight for the central house there. Probably also secured for the machine gun to that way use it as a machine gun nest. Stalling up here Whorunsbartertown, in this case the conscript getting suppressed, and there you go, rushing the Grenadiers in to keep firing at them, which gets to make it harder for them to get unsuppressed, since even the stuff like rifles do provide a tiny bit of suppression. It's never enough to suppress them on, but say if a unit has been suppressed, it can help keep them suppressed. In this case, it means the Grenadiers can easily beat them up close because units that are suppressed have terrible accuracy. Machine gun there shifting about again. He's not going to use his machine gun nest there. Conscript moving up against the Grenadiers. Might want to get the machine gun up, but he's a bit more preoccupied with the south here, threatening or feeling threatened around there. Same Grenadiers got there ready for fire and terror. Conscripts fighting around the centre here. Shots firing back and forth. Not much happening there. Long term, the Grenadiers should have the advantage here due to having better DPS at long ranges compared with the conscripts. Back here, troops reinforcing, and we got more on the way here for Whorunsbartertown. In the south, playing around here, conscripts being held down as well, using the Pioneers to spot for the MD-42, but he's going to pop into the house, so Fireandterror's going to need something to flush out the conscripts, and at the same time it's occupied here, and it's seemingly spreading out for the 3rd prong here, which could mean that Fireandterror does run the risk of overextending versus the ration, which is always something to be mindful of. 3rd Grenadiers going away to Fireandterror, Whorunsbartertown bringing up more infantry here to flush out the fascists, to gain control of the centre, and could actually ultimately just fall into the back of Fireandterror's southern forces. So this is actually pretty risky for Fireandterror, and certainly highlights a bit the issue with him overextending too far. Should have brought more Grenadiers to win the engagement here. Instead he begins moving elsewhere, leaving himself basically open enough to Whorunsbartertown just to swarm him. Pushing out here in the south, enough looks like he's just decided that's not going to be worth it, which is a bit interesting to note here. Controlling what his Grenadiers here on this back here for reinforcement, should be able to arrive to the field soon, but now he's actually taking up first, so 3 Grenadier MD-42 into fast take here for Fireandterror. He is certainly fired up here against Whorunsbartertown, who's aggressive flanking up here despite there's not much to cut off. He still cuts it off just to show he can, and wow, Whorunsbartertown is going for a 5th conscript squad. Very infantry build here by Whorunsbartertown and the Red Army. They'll certainly put some pressure here on Fireandterror furthermore, and could probably require either machine gun or a bunch of Panzer Grenadiers to really sort of deal with all these conscripts. Panzer Grenadiers probably would be in some ways the better choice here, since versus unupgraded conscripts they're pretty good. Though that could prompt him to go for advanced warfare for submachine guns. In fact, with 5 conscript squads, advanced warfare looks very likely, since the conscripts benefit a lot from the doctrine with both the submachine guns and the repair kits, which allows them, pull a lot of work on their, shall we say, somewhat emaciated shoulders. And there you go, emaciated. Engineers swapped out here by the Grenadiers, Rifle Engineers, a few shots there. It's going to force Whorunsbartertown to go for another Engineer squad, but in the meanwhile he can keep up pressure here versus Fireandterror. MD-42 hanging about here, and over here we got the take up there for Fireandterror for the German army. Whorunsbartertown's constantly moving about their large horde of rations moving in. Armed to the teeth for the rifles, but nothing else. Oh, well, Molotovs as well. Squad, they're good to go as well. So far, neither side has yet to commit to a doctrine. And certainly also with these sort of infantry heavy situations, he could consider Jaeger infantry as well. G43, so it could also prove helpful for Fireandterror to fight this many conscripts with his Grenadiers, since they'll give him more firepower on the move line to sort of fight a more, shall we say, fluid battle. which can have its advantages, plus a bit more cost efficient, and opens up for the Jaeger infantry squad, which on top of the Panzer Grenadiers would also be helpful versus a conscript heavy build. So there are some considerations of Fireandterror. More grenadiers around the centre, but they're a bit low on health here, a bit exposed. Like to make a nice company stun, bunker up as well. So medics on the way there, but the question is what to get first. Half tracks, flame for half tracks could be helpful versus this kind of build, but he's going for the 2-2, which can also work, admittedly. We fought to being flanked by the conscripts. Good work there by Whorunsbartertown. Fireandterror reacting to that as fast as possible. And here I'm being very much extended in the fight against Whorunsbartertown. 2-2's almost done. Machine gun getting Molotov. Bad news here for Fireandterror. There got another Molotov off. The German army here is suffering excessively under Whorunsbartertown's vicious and ruthless assaults. He shows no mercy, no quarter, not even to his own men. Medics on the way there to help heal up all the battered German infantry and machine gun crew. 2-2 setting out here for Fireandterror. Now the other side has yet to commit to doctrine. We got the conscripts out in the open. 2-2 hammering over the cracks from machine gun and artillery cannon, raking through the rations like a hot knife through butter. The South Grenadiers moving up. We got the conscripts now arriving as well. Going to be a bit of a shootout here. Conscripts should easily be able to close in and Molotov the Grenadiers off the point. And here we can see Fireandterror beginning to anticipate it. And there you go, off it goes. The Grenadiers are on a such a ball position. Plus they have to keep shifting around, allowing the conscript squad 3 shots at them. But there you go, 2-2 to the rescue, opening out on them. Though no anti-tank grenades yet here from Whorunsbartertown. We have it on the way. Also noting no engineers yet, so he's not going to be taken up anytime soon. Though again, as you might notice, with the map control he's so far, you know, basically exerting versus Fireandterror, it's not necessarily too necessary. You can just keep pressing with the conscripts. Fireandterror is still struggling, and there's certainly an argument to be had that he might attack too fast. Probably not anticipating a 5 conscript build, which is kinda rare to be honest. But done expertly here, it can be quite devastating as it can just exert so much early game pressure, and it can be difficult to deal with just 3 Grenadiers and 1 MG42. In particular, the 1 MG42 is kind of where you sort of run into some issues. We do have Jaeger infantry, we do have G43, so that will help. Plus I'm marking the Jaeger command squad as well for some extra Feuerstärke here versus the Russen. So there you go, a 5-man infantry squad with double G43s, that's going to provide some extra punch here versus Whorunsbartertown. Hitting the cuff point there. Whorunsbartertown just keeps up the aggression, keeps up the pressure. So there you go, machine gun Jaeger command squad ready set out. Points being about here, and we lost a Grenadier squad somewhere. Looks like in the south they bit the dirt here, or extended, and Molotov took them off. Good work there by Whorunsbartertown. Less amazing there for Fireandterror, who really cannot afford versus this many infantry squads to lose any units as well. Like he's already behind on map control, and losing infantry, which is usually one of your best ways of exerting map control, puts Fireandterror into a really terrible position. Well, not terrible, but it's not good either. Yeah, command squad machine gun Grenadiers moving in southwards. Another 2-2 could be an option to help sort of corral the infantry about more, or he could consider Panzer Grenadiers. Again, I'm liking the Panzer Grenadier idea personally. I mean, so far again, lots of conscripts unupgraded are easy pickings for the Panzer Grenadiers unless you handle them terribly. So a couple of Panzer Grenadier squads right now could help Fireandterror really push back against Whorunsbartertown. Maybe, you know, push him further back and maybe gain control of the resources, because right now Whorunsbartertown does a big one. He's going to need to take up. He's actually going for the engineers now, which indicates he's going to be taking up soon. No, still got a way to go because he's got no buildings. Northlead 2-2 reports on the conscripts. 7 kills there for the Svartland. Whorunsbartertown keeps up the pressure. He could consider laying down mines, to be honest, or, well, going for advanced warfare attacks. I mean, just getting a lot of submachine guns right now would be a huge swing and could leave Fireandterror further desperately holding on for dear life. But there you go. He is going for Panzer Grenadiers. I mean, in the situation with a lot of conscripts, Panzer Grenadiers are definitely not a bad choice. Still, he is gaining a bit more traction now. The G43s, which he did lose, but the Jaeger command squad there does help a bit more. The 2-2 also doing what it can here for das Svartland. I mean, yes, be careful now. We got anti-tank grenades up here for Whorunsbartertown, and there we go. Petro throws, and it hits. Molotovs here as well. Need to be careful not to lose another Grenadier squad. We got more Molotovs. He's got so many munitions, you can just keep throwing them about. Panzergrenadier first adding ambush camouflage, not a bad choice. You could definitely consider also some of his other troops here and there. Once he gets the Grenadiers upgraded, that is, because unupgraded, they don't tend to benefit so much as when you have either light machine guns or G43s, so the ambush camouflage bonus really just sort of adds in, because those are higher rate fire weapons, and the ambush bonus basically is accuracy, so anything with a high rate of fire becomes a lot more lethal with the ambush camouflage bonus. It's also why Pentagon for example, benefit from it. You can sort of set up for a nice angle, and then poof, you sort of set up for it, and they just really tear things apart with their assault rifles. But there you go, you might notice the conscripts really not performing well with the Panzer Grenadiers, so overall good choice here. Pack 40 on the way because Fireandterror is not kidding himself about the situation. He's worried about tanks, and he rightfully should be. I mean, so far though, Whorunsbartertown isn't making exactly a huge run for it, but it's not something you should be ignoring as a potential strategy from your opponent. Just rush out a light tank, in particular in this situation. I'm surprised he hasn't done that. But there you go, advanced warfare it is as predicted. We'll be most likely seeing a lot of submachine guns. Already there, 3 submachine gun upgrades there being handed out to his men. We got Panzer there hiding up behind a bunch of old carts and barrels with hold fire on. It's going to be a bit tricky there again. I mean, correctly, he could do a lot of damage, but of course, if he loses control it or loses sight of it at the wrong time, GG. Field gun up here for Whorunsbartertown. If he's not going straight ahead for the light vehicles here, which is what I think most people would do, he's most likely going to be going straight for the T-45. So he's basically relying on the sheer march and the sheer early advantage to just try and rush for T-45s versus Fireandterror. Definitely a nasty strategy. Fireandterror, by the way, building bunkers up to protect the fuel point there, not a bad idea. Could up slow down, plus with a conscript heavy strategy, bunkers can be quite effective since he lacks counters then to it. Of course he has the field gun. So I like that idea there by Fireandterror and the 3-tier Panzer Division. Meanwhile, Whorunsbartertown there is men equipped with submachine guns, armed to the teeth. But I have no teeth! Shut up, Petrov. I'll knock out your dentures. There you go, Panzer, there's the conscripts. There you go, landing a decent ambush hit. Needs to retreat to the other conscript quarter. Schnell. There you go, veterans 1 gained. And there you go, force wing. Might have had a chance, but there's also a chance the conscript got him. Still pretty close. The Panzer did well. Machine gun bunker being upgraded. Need to get the 2-2 I think down there, plus some other supporting elements. Grab the fuel point here. Still, I'm liking the machine gun bunker. It's not something you see a lot on the Wehrmacht, but it can have its uses set up properly. That is in 1 versus 1s. 2 versus 2s, it is more common, but 1 versus 1 meant, at least in my personal experience, it's not a huge factor. But there you go. Arriving here, shutting down the conscripts on the fuel point. Gutting Petrov. Up here, healing enforcement, and take up here for Fireandterror. Is going to try and get up as fast as possible because, again, he's likely worried about the enemy armor, and in this case, a Panzer IV Stuke is going to be quite helpful. Machine gun bunker there, hammering away at full burst. Strafniki setting out in pursuit of the Jaeger command squad. There we go, Yuri drops dead. G45 there, quickly raking through them. Go. Engagement 1 there for Das Vaterland. Back here, troops reinforcing. Lots of troops good to go, and he's ready to just build the support corps. Schnell. Whoops. Actually pushed the mouse. I was trying to make something like, pointing down, motion. Yeah, I know you can't see, but I still do it, for the effect. Anyway, support corps going up there for Fireandterror. I actually make a lot of gestures, which you don't get to see. Fun fact. So support corps up here for Fireandterror. Could rush an Ostwind or Stug, but he's most likely going to go for a Panther Force that is, of course, more well-rounded, can deal with more threats. And at this stage, he's probably anticipating bigger armor, so the Panther 4 can immediately have to deal with infantry, plus still deal, with enemy armor. Though, of course, with the T-35s on the horizon, he might actually want Stugs to specifically deal with the T-35s more effectively. But that's just me. But he's most likely going for the Panther 4. That is, shall we say, the baseline for a lot of Wehrmacht players. In most situations, they'll go for a Panzer IV. And again, it's not a bad choice. Particularly skilled players, and the Panzer IV is an excellent tool. But there we go, need to retreat those command squad. Didn't quite get off on a good foot here. Console pulling for the center, machine gun setting up to cover the flank of the machine gun bunker. We get a field gun nearby as well. Panzer Grenadier are down south. Going for the calf point, good aggression. Making use of his overall superior numbers to just try and slip by Fireandterror's forces. Aggressive and flexible play there by Whorunsbartertown, also just highlighting how powerful conscripts can be, in particular with submachine gun upgrades. In fact, he's got all squads now upgraded. Panzer on the way there for Fireandterror as predicted, and we got the mechanized armor company out for Whorunsbartertown as more or less predicted. So that'll likely be the T-45, at which point he's going to put some pressure on Fireandterror and of course make him wish he's gone for Stooks instead, I imagine. Still, Fireandterror there fighting his best, fighting for control. Back here healing reinforcement, 23 kills, 7 kills, 4 kills. Machine gun hanging about there. He could consider adding ambush camouflage to that one as well, since that also benefits from, of course, not inside buildings, but you know, everyone has to abandon the building most likely at some stage. It would be a bit surprising if Whorunsbartertown allows the machine gun to remain there forever. And there you go. He's had enough. Say it again? Yes. I want that house gone. Yes. Good. There you go, Panzervogt for Fireandterror. And go ahead on assaulting some issues. We got Ura that's quickly past the outer fire using the building as cover. Excellently played. Feeling gets all good here on the 2-2. And can soon find another barrage. She's going to need troops nearby to support. The Panzer gun are rushing back. The machine gun being pushed back as well. We got the Panzer out though. Of course, has to be mindful of the field gun. Whorunsbartertown very close to the T-45, which is also known as the T-43 by the Germans. As a fun fact, they sort of, at least initially, sort of saw it as a separate tank, and so call it the T-43. In fact, you'll see that in some of the memoirs, they'll refer to the T-45 as the T-43. So a little fun note there. North here, Grenadiers, Jaeger command squad as the Conscript squad. Back here healing reinforcement. Whorunsbartertown. Of course, with all the constant does run into the manpower issue, makes it a bit harder for him to pull for the T-45 easily, depending on how he plays. But he's going to go for it in a few moments. There you go. Panzer IV, they're hanging back, 2 kills. He might want to pull it more closer towards the centre, so he sort of has it more in a reserve position. That way he can react better to what happens. Whereas right now it's here at the front line, but it means going to say like there's a big thing happening north. It's going to be hard for him to support there with the Panzer IV. So having said the Panzer IV closer to here, where it can more easily react to whatever happens, I think it's a much better choice there tactically. Now the T-45 number for Whorunsbartertown. Oh, another one. He's getting it. Slight brain fart there. Fireandterror will probably want to go for Stooks soon. So help deal, and there you go. Fulton lands an excellent hit on the Panzer IV. And we got Jaeger commands or Grenadiers being upgraded with ambush camouflage as well. Very good upgrade. Again, G for the fielding Grenadiers can actually benefit surprisingly well from it as well, as long as they just have any high rate of fire weapon rather than the Counter-98Ks. Ambush camouflage is just a great upgrade, to be honest. Again, I reiterate, the only time an ambush camouflage upgrade is better than the Grenadiers is if they're not upgraded, got any weapons picked up, that is with high rate of fire. Otherwise, it's excellent. T-45 coming in and catching the air command squad in a bad spot. Panzer IV being repaired and doesn't quite have the stats to really take on the T-45 in any sort of, you know, single-hand combat. He's going to need Sturmgeschütz or baited into the Pack 40 artillery mine. And if there's one thing he hasn't at the time for, it's actually telemines. So in that regard, he's got no real way of slowing down the T-45 there. I say just catching in a kill zone, which would be, you know, quite handy for him. So Sturmgeschütz here would, I think, be the, personally that is, best choice here. Good rate of fire, good range, good cost, nice threat. So we could also just go for another Panzer IV here and try and deal with that. That can also work. Just been blasted back and forth. Note he's flanking with the conscript to get off an anti-tank grenade to make it hard for the Panzer to get out of the situation, just make the defense overall much more frustrating for Fireandterror. It's a nice little play there by Whorunsbartertown. Panzer was a conscript in this case, got caught up moving. Had he been able to just stop on time, he could probably won the engagement. Problem is, Panzer gun is running straight into the conscript with a submachine gun and will lose. It's more about sitting up then at long to medium range and taking them apart with the assault rifles. In this case, they got close, fast, in which case the submachine guns outdo the assault rifles. It's a bit of a little detail there. More pioneers out to assist with the repairs. Definitely a very good choice there, and he's going to go for another Panzer IV. No Sturmgeschütz here for Fireandterror, at least not for now. And he's going to lose the 2-2. Bit of a shame, I'd say, there for Fireandterror. They've done him reasonably well, but all things must have an end, I suppose. Even the 2-2. Going for a mortar here to help deal with support from his infantry. Also, he actually got a wipe some point. Very good there by Fireandterror. There we go. T-55 moves out again here for the Red Army. Quick hit there, blasting Otto apart with a single high explosive round. And there you go, mortar out. No sign of the 2nd Panzer Force yet, or is he planning for tier 4 right now? That'd be a bit ambitious, but guess it could work out. They've done wisely enough, maybe the fuel cache to back it up, but there you go. Solid defense of the centre. Ambush camouflage from the machine gun, but not quite set up for it. You could consider maybe some sandbags to help make it easier for him to defend and also make use of the ambush camouflage a bit more on his own terms. Plus, no one ever expects to come under fire from no one standing behind us in a bunch of sandbags, like empty sandbags essentially. T-55 fight opening up the grenadiers, Panzer southwards. Machine gun bunker bow is still standing, certainly has done good then, locking down harassment from Whorunsbartertown there. Getting to extend into the north, realise of course he can't just sit back, twiddle his thumbs and hope for the Russians to go away. If that strategy worked, the Germans would have won the war. But it didn't. So obviously they did not win the war. Rather grenade fire and mortar fire there, taking apart some of the conscripts. Kicking reinforcement of the command squad. Panzers moving in there. Betch and T2. And there you go. Easter push on the back here, of course, backed up by a lot of T-43s. Another T-45 there for Whorunsbartertown. Stug on the way there. Wunderbar. T-43 assault rifle against the conscripts. Some nasty skirmish you need to pull back. The Panzer's got a bit too close to the submachine gun wielding conscripts. Sturmgeschütz almost done. And there you go, Stug 3G. Second T-55 setting out here for Fireandterror. Headford dealing with rations in the south, Stug moving towards the centre. Headford hanging back this way, got Molotov on the machine gun. Very nice little throw there by Whorunsbartertown. Bit of otherwise, you know, standing about here. As I imagine Fireandterror is trying to seize up the situation with Whorunsbartertown to sort of figure out the best course of action. Victory points wise, they're actually pretty close to each other. Tiny, tiny, minuscule lead here for Whorunsbartertown. It's small. Panzer here versus conscripts. Again, getting too close to the Panzer Grenadiers is not necessarily the most effective way of using the Panzer Grenadiers versus submachine gun conscripts, to be honest. There's nonetheless a very important distinction to keep in mind. Stug moving up. He should go, I think, for a second. Stug to increase the chance of dealing with the T-45s using the Sturmgeschütz. Good hit there. Penetrates. Healing reinforcement. Nothing further. We got Molotovs against the Grenadiers as well. And we got the T-55 setting out here. Backed up by Russian infantry. And this is the repulsing engineer squad there with a well-placed ambush. And then get almost ace machine gun there up by the conscripts. Panzer to help finish them off. North here troops in reinforcing. We got tag up for Fireandterror. So he's actually going to move for tier 4 with this. A single Stug and a Panzer versus 2 T-45s. I mean, he can stall with it, but I'd still probably prefer second Stug before doing that. But either way, tag up is what's happening. I mean, he does have the Stuger close air support to, you know, help backing up in case things get very hairy and require the support of the Luftwaffe to that way shatter the Red Army armour. Panzer going to do by they're very close to Veteran 3 and the hero level. Machine gun bunker having a nice time. Enjoying itself. Watching Mac. And we got Telemans objects for Fireandterror. Very good, very good. Mines are good, except for the enemy, which is why they're good for you. Contributing from the north, the engagement with the submachine guns being gunned down by the G-33s. Molotoving up as well there, forcing a retreat in the end. The troops standing by could easily do something about it, but they end up not doing it. And there you go, Veteran 3 MG-42. Hey, found the conscripts, pinning them down to the ground incredibly fast. And there you go, big push up for the flank. Panzer 4, though it's too great to cover up. Panzer then Jaeger command squad to deal with it. One squad repulsed, but the other one's still moving about. Can't then push back as well. T-55 field gun moving up here. Stug is down there. Both constant corps part of the assault here repulsed, plus another one elsewhere. Leaving just the tanks and the field gun, which begin slowly retracting themselves rather than keep up the engagement. And we can see Whorunsbartertown starting to worry about the situation. This is starting to where he might get rushed, in particular when he's going for the Katyusha, an armoured rush and to try and catch it could be an idea. So he's beginning, I think, to mine up entrances, in which case you'll probably also mine some of the, shall we say, less straightforward paths, because likely, you know, Fireandterror tries to that's going to try, you know, some of those paths instead of just, you know, head on. Because in most cases, the head on path will also usually take you straight through your opponent's army, which is not a very effective way of getting to the Katyusha. And if it is, well, then you actually don't need to destroy the Katyusha, you just, you know, finish off the main enemy army, in which case you can then go for the Katyusha easily. So, the Panzer's down watching the south. Mines being laid down. We can see that Whorunsbartertown is seriously worried about Russia after his Katyusha. Hey, Panzer called down. He can soon go for the Panther or Sturmpanzer, depending on what he feels like. Panzer Air Force could always be an option. And again, the South Panzer. Oh, again, this is kind of the danger of these sort of things there. And unless it's sort of a really specific spot, I'm just far whenever to see the enemy, because again, the ambush bonus in case of the Panzer will usually make up for, you know, the longer ranges where you can see the enemy. In this case, this usually appear from a certain range anyway, so it's not like, you know, you really need a reason to have them on hold fire there, to be honest. Katyusha find the Veteran 3 MG-42 so far. Most of the rockets though are heading quite off the mark. In fact, they're hitting the Stug. Machine gun almost down. T-5 coming up, engaged on the engaged. We got the A command squad coming in here to deal with it. Cutting down the engaged and trying to repair his tank, which could mean, yeah, he's just lost only engineer squad, plus he's lost another counter squad here. Whorunsbartertown needs to be a bit more careful with his unit preservation. And of course, Fireandterror needs to keep his up. But he can soon pull for a tank of the bigger kind. The biggest tanks. No, not the biggest, but you know, bigger than the Russians. He could also consider Imperial machine gun the Sturmgeschütz. Back and forth between these two players. We got Gavrilis Cadet from the Northern Victory Point. He really loves just to hold fire. Again, he's, you know, he wants to set up those really sexy ambushes where, you know, just manages everything. But again, unless there's a specific point for it, I usually just allow him to, you know, fire freely. Since again, usually when they fire, the enemy's usually in the effective range of the weapon. Again, with the ambush camouflage, and you know, so it's going to work out. At least in my experience. Obviously, Fireandterror might have different experiences. So, you know, but there you go. Got to with the ambush camouflage bonus doing good work in the conscripts. Half the squad gone, the blink of an eye, plus down to less than half health. Certainly showing what he can done when used correctly. He's also very close to the Panther or the Sturmpanzer, depending on what his heart desires. Besides that, is the destruction of the enemies. It's more like, you know, how does he want to destroy his enemies? I mean, a good German heart always desires the destruction of his enemies. T-55 moving up here, Pack 40 opening up, returning the T-55's hostility with good German strength. Finding the so far spotting it a bit down a bit here. Now the players committing to any sort of bigger engagement, sort of just trying to shift the front lines a bit. But so far, oh, hello, good hit on the conscripts, all taking out the entire squad. Fireandterror probably should, well, Whorunsbartertown should probably look into replacing some of his infantry, and there we go, we got the Panther on the way. Panzer Kampfwagen infantry gun issued far on the way for Whorunsbartertown. Obviously, he's hurt the heavy Panzer Corps, so he's most likely anticipating some sort of heavy armor. So having a field HU-5 tank destroyer to deal with that is going to be good. I do feel like Fireandterror could maybe try and launch an attack for the south. Of course, he needs some minesweepers to help clear up the path. I mean, he doesn't know there's mines, but obviously he's going to benefit from it. Bit of shooting here, machine gun hiding out there in ambush mode, watching as someone gets blown apart right in front of their eyes. And yes, you know, the gunner doesn't flinch. Units get covered maybe in a bit of gore, and there you go. Panther ready here for Fireandterror. Pinlight machine gun being added, very good. I mean, a good assault right now, maybe coordinated with close air support, could probably do some heavy damage to Whorunsbartertown, who is finally going for infantry replacements to make up for some of those losses the 3rd Guards Mechanized Corps has suffered. Because you survive against the infantry, they quick retreat, and we got incendiary armor piercing rounds here to further just tear through the Russian infantry. And there you go. Close air support. The problem is he doesn't have the line of sight for it, so it doesn't really do a lot. At least not long term. Almost got the field gun with the Panther moving down and getting the T-55 head on. Stuke following up. He's careful, doesn't know extend though. Also the mine seat, good spot by Whorunsbartertown. Oh, he's going to move the Panther into it. Ah, he got too greedy, and he got flanked there with the T-55. Actually, the lands a good hit here as well. Fireandterror there, exposing his Panther, I think, a bit too eagerly. I'm not entirely sure what he's hoping to do with a single Panther inside the base anyway, so at least knew there were 2 T-55s, so that seemed a bit ill-advised to an extent there by Fireandterror. Since that's not really the sort of terrain where the Panther excels in anyways. Like, it's not a Tiger tank, so yeah, he got it pretty much swiftly killed there. You know, say a non-too-grand operation. And I wanted to be more aggressive, just not the reckless aggressive. Big flank here with the conscripts. Molotovs off. Panzer Grenadiers, Jaeger Command Squad all moving in from the north, all veteranly free, all with a license to kill. Rations it is. Heavy back and forth here, should find pushing back the Panther 4. Jaeger Command Squad Panzer need to get out of the fire, the Grenadiers also a bit more mindful. There you go, Panther restraining the conscripts here. Veteranly free versus veteran team north. The Panther Grenadiers eat them up. But he's about to lose to Stuke. A striking loss here for Fireandterror. Lost the Panther and the Sturmgeschütz. But that, I think, now they're really doing a serious amount of damage here to Whorunsbartertown. Rather unfortunate here for Fireandterror, though great for Whorunsbartertown. Well, now might have slightly shifted the balance of power here a bit on the map. We'll have to see how Fireandterror recovers from this. Of course, losing a Panther and a Stuke like that is not exactly amazing. And just as importantly, he lost them while not gaining a single centimetre of ground. Like the north is just still Whorunsbartertown, so I think he's getting a bit too focused on the centre, losing sight of everything else, including the fuel here. Troops seemingly reinforcing here. He'll possibly go for another Panther. I mean, Sturmpanzer could be something he aims for, but with the sort of current force composition, all the armour Whorunsbartertown has, a Panther probably do him more good. Though again, a pair of Stuks could also do him, I think, a lot of good. Sturmgeschütz. Panzer Grenadier sweeping out. Pack shoots, penetrates the T-55's frontal armour easily. Back here healing and reinforcing. Got the Panzer Grenadiers ready to ambush again. Alright, just like last time, we don't shoot until it gets very specific order. You mean like all the other last times we didn't get to shoot in time because the enemy got too close? Shut up, Friedrich. Stop being such a party pooper. I'll poop your party, Jürgen. What did you say? Nothing? Nothing? There you go, counter push back. Panthers once more. That really managed to achieve much. Swinging through the south with the T-55 Control Squad there, opening up through the southern front, trying to outmove Fireandterror. Set into very good play there, though we finally got a bit of movement in the north here from Fireandterror. Finally got a bit of fresh movement for the fatherland. Got a third T-54 this time, the 76 here for Whorunsbartertown. And another Panther for Fireandterror and the 3rd Panzer Division. We'll have to see if this one does a bit better than the first one, because that first one was quite frankly thrown away.
Ready for combat.
That was not the best Panther play of 2018 for sure. Panther roughly halfway done. Up north, you've got the Jaeger command squads. The conscripts probably coming down. Yuri and Sergei. Dimitri joins in as well. Boris. In fact, almost takes out the entire conscript squad there during that small duration of the ambush camouflage. And the central's being held up as well. In the south, conscript moving through here. Using house again. And in the further south here, we've got a Panther 4 holding the line here against Whorunsbartertown, who could be committing more armor to try and push through here in the south, but so far seems not quite keen on that. Oh, Telemine went off, taking out the T-54 himself a few hits there. Very good, very good. Nice to see that Fireandterror had been laying down more Telemines. Well, I wasn't paying attention. Machine gun down, quite lost there for Fireandterror, losing the veteran fleet. Plus the mortar went down. Firing here in the centre, Pack 40 was the T-55, needs the Panther down there. Schnell. We've got the T-54 threatening the northern part of the central defence as well here. So calling in some air support here to help, further, shall I say, reinforce the situation. Pulling out with the Panther, be careful not to extend. And in this case, looks like the stupid close air support ends up doing absolutely nothing. That is absolutely nothing besides pushing the tanks out of that area. I mean, that still does something, but like in terms of just damage, it does nothing. It does no damage. So while it probably doesn't end up being entirely useless, I wouldn't say it's fully cost efficient either. We're probably looking at recruiting some more of these support weapons soon. The machine gun I think is critical, but of course the mortar helps up a bunch. Panther 4 under fire for the field gun. Tag wiped as well. Fireandterror seeing a high turnover rate there amongst the support and crew's not good. There you go. Crewing the machine gun gewehr with well, a Pioneer squad that got wiped. And there was his Minesweeper Unit 1 as well. Big cost for their Fireandterror. For the Pioneer squad to achieve nothing. Now using the Grenadier squad's got the T-54 moving in. Need to get that machine gun gewehr the hell out of there. But Fireandterror seems to be in no mood for such thoughts, as not, finds the last man. And there you go, Katyusha Barrage again. Almost takes out his hero Panther gun. His machine gun there gets wiped for the second time in a very short order there. Total of 3 wipes this match so far. Whorunsbartertown continues to move ahead here. Back here, fresh Pioneers. Panther guns there, reinforcing. Definitely need it. Sneak up the T-54 6 here for a bit of shenanigans right here from the Pack 40. Panther and the Panther Horse Robbery gets the Pack 40, wiping it once more. Fireandterror situation is starting to look a bit bleak here. He's taking some heavy casualties all the time. He's bleeding out profusely while he's trying to plug every gap in the front line. Desperate artillery calling in to just stall. Whorunsbartertown needs to buy himself more time to figure out his next move, but Whorunsbartertown is having none of it, so he sneaks through the south though. Machine gun banger there proves to be helpful. Whorunsbartertown probably could go with a bigger push, and Fireandterror I think needs to make some sort of flanking assault here, and Whorunsbartertown probably try and get through here, then get behind and do some damage in this area. If he can do that, I think he might have a chance. Of course, it needs to be coordinated properly with armor and infantry and whatnot. Well, at the very least, consider maybe a smoke screen here, around here, then push through the centre, and that way sort of catch Whorunsbartertown off guard. Of course, it's going to have some risks of its own. Pack Panthers there being swarmed here, got the command coming up with 41 kills by the way, 41, that's really absolutely impressive. There you go, Gebattle Ladung, and pop goes the Weasel, taking out several countries and the rest not feeling too wonderful about themselves. 44 kills. I'd definitely say that Jaeger command squad has earned itself in quite a few times over. Katyusha firing off here, 17 kills. As I would say, also definitely paid itself off for Whorunsbartertown, the 3rd Guards Mechanized Corps. Very easily. Committees on the fire from the T for the fire, which gains Vexing 2. That is certainly not good news there for Fireandterror. He's actually setting up for another Panther here. I mean, he's almost got the fuel for another one. And 2 Panthers might be able to work out here versus Whorunsbartertown, though I still think he needs to slightly change up his tactics. Panther 4 being rushed up here. Need to retreat that machine gun. The command squad probably also consider moving to somewhere less exposed. Go back to the 3 Panthers versus the rest of the 3 conscripts. Grenadiers though could risk being wiped out, which would be a bit of loss if we find Terror at this stage of the match, but no, he does save them, he does rescue them from the slimy clutches of socialism. Continued pressure here from Whorunsbartertown. The Panther was doing what they can with the assault rifles, just firing round after round into ration after ration. Panther moving up straight to the field, got an SU5 combo, immediately takes 2 penetrating hits. Panther, it seems there, so just moves on the spot. Taking a full 180-degree turn, just allowing for more easy shots from Whorunsbartertown. So the tank weapons not good there at all. Well, he's just got the northern victory point, keeping up the pressure on Whorunsbartertown's victory points. So good, so good.
Our territory is falling into enemy hands.
T-4 moving up. Got the Panzer at the Canona though. Ready to assist the Russian invader. Ooh. Almost lost the Panzer Grenadiers, but also almost lost 2 Pioneer squads. That would have been devastating there for Fireandterror. That could have been easily been GG. And they got whacked far up north. The 8 command squad here with 45 kills still. There's the country squad there, rushing forwards. Already popped the Molotov, so they can't push them out of the house now easily. That means the Jaeger command squad with the high veterans and everything enjoys very much an advantage. You can see that they quickly tank through the rations. Mein Gott, Ludwig, I love it when they throw them down. They think it protects them. Yeah, it's like they think we can't see them or something. Here we go, Grenadiers versus the country again, a bit of ambush. This time he hasn't bothered with the whole fight. Does a bit of nice damage here, though needs to retreat in the end. Damaging the Panther 4 right in front of the anti-tank line here. He should be aware now that most of the anti-tank guns are parked in the tank destroyers. And that costs him the Panther 4, though he can soon go for a Panther to replace that one. But certainly the question is, can he now sort of salvage the situation with it? He's beginning to suffer high and high losses versus Whorunsbartertown, who's beginning to suffer less and less. Ooh, hit the Telemine. Telemine paying off. Got right in front of the Panther as well there. Great there for Fireandterror. Great. But he just can't get the finishing assist off this heavy damage to the Panther. But he maybe try and go for a bit of path of flanks and get out of the arc of fire the anti-tank, which might be able to pull off. Still, that T-54 is going to be out for a bit of a while. The problem is, so is his Panther. So how much he truly gained for that engagement is a bit harder to say here. In particular, since Whorunsbartertown has plenty of other tanks in the field, or at least another one, whereas Fireandterror's only got that one Panther, waiting for another one to arrive. Machine gun bunker down. Panther halfway done. Johnny's moving up, rough grenading away. And second Panther done. Almost a full wipe there. So there we go. 2 Panthers versus 2 T-55 and H5 and Katyusha. Can Fireandterror pull this off? Whereas the ship left the port already on any chance of victory here. Far up north, he's straight to the machine gun. He's getting more flexible though. I mean, for quite some time, he's been mostly focusing around the centre, but he's getting a bit more, aggressive about the north, which is good. I just wish he'd try and launch his assault tree. He's going to need to try and catch Whorunsbartertown a bit off guard, and that way he'd land some nasty hits. In particular, get rid of either issue for the field gun or both. I think it's going to do great, because in particular the field gun right now is an issue. It has veteran 3, which makes it excellent in dealing with tanks, and it has a high rate of fire, can penetrate most things here that right now Fireandterror has. Straight front him in the Jaeger command squad. Panther number 2 almost good to go. Or number 1 really, in a sense. And they're finding a small engagement as the Russians move in. Whorunsbartertown getting ready, looks like, for a sweeping push here against Fireandterror, against the Germans. Back here, Panther almost good to go. Almost, but not quite. Closing in on the battle rate season. There you go. Fireandterror can't wait anymore, and he charges straight on ahead. Against the T-45, taking hits from the field gun. Again, veteran 3, high rate of fire, high penetration, plus station 5. The Panther's already taking excessive amounts of damage. He can't really keep this up. He's in fact about to lose it here. He's not careful. Almost lost. In fact, other Panther doing what he can, but again, field gun here is a massive threat. He needs to get rid of it. Panther was there finally moving. He's even sprinting here to make sure they get close in. Very good, very good. Massacring the heroic field gun crew there. Fireandterror there shows no mercy. He takes no prisoners because the game doesn't have mechanics for it. 42 kills there. The meaning of life is veteran 3 Panther Grenadiers confirmed right here, ladies and gentlemen. Fixing up the Panther there. He needs more pilots to do that. In the meanwhile, Whorunsbartertown is just bringing up more T-45s. But getting rid of the veteran 3 field gun though is going to be huge for the Panthers. The question is, going to get them back in fighting shape fast enough. The 2-point whilst we've still got the lead here, and we got the Grenadiers here with 38 kills. Again, the ambush camouflage really just allows them to just do more. Panther takes here from the issue 5, gaining now veteran 2. Need to get the Panther out of there. $57 kills in that Jaeger command squad. 58. They've really just been carrying Fireandterror for quite a bit there, I would say. 59 kills, in fact. That is not really a kill ratio you usually see on infantry. But the Jaeger command squad went there. I mean, obviously it helped that Whorunsbartertown went for a ton of conscripts, but even then. Better between them and the Panther, but of course, the veteran issue 5 does not particularly care about that. Panther fast off here, but both of his Panthers actually heavily damaged here. The Christians can't really do much with them. Can get fixed fast enough. There you go. Moving up into the base. Panther trying to get away, but he can't. So moves forward instead, and that's going to be dead. With only one Panther. There you go. Fireandterror surrenders. A loss for Germany. The 3rd Panzer Division has been beaten and forced away here in a brutal series of battles with heavy casualties there. He suffered an almost close, at least, 1 to 2 kill death ratio. Not exactly got big, and just highlights somehow the rations played to an extent. He did a lot of damage in the end though, and certainly some of his units were, shall I say, highly effective there. The conscripts did a ton of damage. The field gun as well did a ton. Like, again, 5,000% efficiency. Like, really do not underestimate the potency of a veteran 3 field gun. It can really tear through a lot of stuff. Had he been able to deal with that sooner, he probably would have been able to do more with his tanks. But again, because it took us long to deal with it, it just spiraled out of control like this. I mean, really do not underestimate, field guns. And the tanks, of course, did quite well as well. And for the German side there, Panther Grenadiers did well. The Grenadiers did well again. Jaeger ambush camouflage does well. But also just the Jaeger command squad. Again, single-handedly, but also just ambush camouflage. Really, it's great. I think it just allowed his more men to just fire whenever they could, rather than just wait to try and set up his perfect own ambush. He probably been better off as well. Pack 40, of course, also did well. Don't take that lightly either. The bigger issue was probably the Stuke, which ended up being a little bit manhandled. So, I mean, overall, an interesting fight, a brutal fight here with a lot of back and forth between the two players. In the end, I think Fireandterror suffered a bit from tunnel vision, getting over folks in the centre, losing control of the rest of the battlefield here. And that way also slowly been ground down here by Whorunsbartertown. Rather than pull off, I think, some good flanks, he probably could have stood a much better chance here. So, there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, tell your friends, share it with the world. And hope you enjoyed it. If you did, again, subscribe, all that. And see you all tomorrow for another Sunday episode of this Imperial Engine. Cheers. Thank you for watching. Bye.